Namaste and welcome, beautiful souls, to the Live Lounge, these soul-to-soul conversations. We're so glad to be here with you, and thank you for tuning in and being with us. I'm Caroline Crawford.
And I'm Paul Crawford. And on this podcast, we're going to be discussing and talking about living in the consciousness of compassion and everything that brings with it. As well as usual, the wonderful words of wisdom from Spirit Team Jirama. And as always, really look forward to what they're going to bring through and their perspective of things.
Yeah. So as usual, if you're listening on any other platform than Zoom, please remember to like and share. And if you have any comments, on what the show has bring to you, maybe it's inspired you or made you have some new thoughts and think in a new way, leave that in the comments because we really appreciate that. And just a quick reminder, if there's any questions you'd like to put to Jirama about anything, the global situation, whatever it is, because I know there's a lot of people saying what's going to happen in the world, put those questions in the comments or email us. The details are always down in the comments because then we can address that and you can feel that you can get some answers on a deeper level of understanding rather than, just guessing. So that would be really appreciated. So Paul is going to get the ball rolling on living with the consciousness of compassion. Sit back and enjoy. And thank you again.
Yeah. So really, the more conscious we become, we will naturally become more compassionate. It's very much interlinked because as we become more conscious, we're obviously more connected to the strength of our being, the core of our being, and that will naturally bring about that loving, compassionate energy more strongly in this physical existence. And it really is also because of that connectedness, we also become less judgmental. We start to release the energy of judgment, and we can still be ourselves, and we can still think for ourselves. But it just means that we're going to do so in a much more understanding way. We're going to come from a more balanced point of view, with that greater compassion. And the more that we can bring that in to who we are, that's what we're going to be sharing with the environment and everything that we get connected with.
Yeah, and I think the more we kind of consciously expand ourselves, it brings about this wonderful kind of additional understanding to that balance. And that compassion is about understanding, isn't it? Understanding that life here in the physical, there's so many millions of us, we are all on that journey, aren't we? But there's so many different pathways to that journey, and that so many physical individuals that make up this world. And just particularly in this moment of time, it's just so important that we are really aware of being connected to the heart, being connected to our kindness and compassion, especially with what is going on externally in the world, even more so. Let it make you be more compassionate, more caring, more coming from that understanding of who you really are.
Yeah, and I think especially leading up to these elections, being, especially from what has gone on before, let's start to learn from that and not allow ourselves to become embroiled in the energy of that and lose sight of the compassionate people that we normally are. It's just that we allow ourselves to almost become lost in the energy of what takes place, and within that sort of the pageantry of all the media and everything else.
Yeah.
So really, it's just about staying in balance and allowing your compassionate self to remain in place.
Yeah, I think not letting other people, be someone that you're really not. This media frenzy kind of really ramps up because it's going to. Just be aware of where you put your focus, where you put your your attention. Because of course it's okay to be aware of what's taking place. There's times when we need to do that, but it's not allowing yourself to be sidetracked by what somebody else is saying or somebody else is doing. Because if you become sidetracked, that really is causing a separation from your true self, from who you really are. And that then you're closing yourself off from your connection. And that can be very uncomfortable, because as we come away from that, we begin to become very critical, don't we? Very harsh, very judgmental. And that's not a part of us that we really want to be in tune with, because that judgment starts to come back in. And as a result, we become less compassionate. So just be aware of that. Don't let other people push and shove you or control your thoughts. Remember always, you are a sovereign being. You are a fractal of the divine. Be your loving self. Be who you are. I sometimes say, think how your children, how you want your children or those you really dearly love to feel. And if we're getting angry and we're getting judgmental and critical, that isn't a lovely, smooth, calming energy, peaceful energy, a joyful energy to be radiating out. So just come back to yourself. Just really be aware of your thoughts and that you have choices and that you're making them from your compassionate self to live in that compassion.
Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't mean that when we're compassionate that we just foolishly accept everything that's put before us, but rather that we become more focused with the energy of our loving selves. And that in itself will bring about and maintain that greater sense of status quo. And we begin to fully shine who we are, rather than being funneled into a certain direction or a certain way of thinking and being. Herded. That was I couldn't think for a minute then. I had these visions of sheep, what you do to sheep. I couldn't think of the word herded.
No. And we can judge really how compassionate we are and how we feel about everything that's kind of taking place externally by how we feel and how we are feeling within ourselves to bring about that better feeling, that feeling that we're happy with ourselves, and by allowing more of our divinity, our higher self, to come into this physical world. Because everything, as you well know, everything is connected and everything is related. And the more you can set your intention, if you know me, I'm a great lover of setting intentions. The more you can set your intention of becoming more connected to your true self, you'll set the scene, you set the tone, you set that internal dialogue and that energy to allow it to become a greater, stronger part of you, of your physical existence. So, and as it becomes part of a stronger, a greater part of your physical existence, you'll be then freeing yourself from things that are going on around you and freeing yourself from everything that causes you to feel imbalanced or frustrated or unsettled or anxious or angry and critical. And the more we bring that balance back through that awareness, through setting our intentions, I am not going to be controlled by another person, certainly not by politicians. I'm going to allow myself to be free to think as the compassionate, sovereign, divine being that I am. And if we practice that, we're going to feel so much more balanced and more strong in ourselves, more peaceful and happy.
Yeah, and I think it's not that people become deluded.
Some might.
Thinking that they are connected. But what can happen is that we attach ourselves more to what's going on in this physical world. And that, in essence, is really taking us away from that state of connectedness and being probably more easily led and directed rather than standing firm in who we are as we expand and radiate that greater love. And as we stay in that state of connectedness, everything begins to change within us. We find it more easier to maintain that state of balance. We open our hearts up more. We become more heart-centered, and we've spoken about that before. You might want to look at some of our previous podcasts that we've done. And it's all about that non-judgment, that letting go and that releasing and being our true selves.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking today, I saw the chiropractor today, and I'm very conscious in who I choose to work with, whether it's me working with clients or me going to see somebody for treatment. And this chiropractor, I see, he's just compassion. And I think I know that when we're compassionate and we're in that energy of somebody else's compassion, we feel that, and that is when the greatest breakthroughs and the greatest healing can take place. Because when we feel someone's compassion, we feel they're not judging us. And when we feel we're not being judged, we relax more. And as we relax, that's when we can release tensions, things can be realigned, we can connect to that higher energy, and so much healing takes place. Clients have said to me time and time again, Caroline, you're so non-judgmental. And I feel that that's part of who we are when we're connected to our true self. And that's why, people heal so well when they're in that energy, that field of love, that field of compassion, of non-judgment. So as always, a lot of this, the compassion and love, they are words. But as we allow ourselves to connect to the energy of that, we go beyond the word itself. And that's when we connect to that deeper energy, that and gain that even deeper understanding and that connectedness to what the word truly represents. As we say, allow yourself to be compassionate and to radiate that compassion for yourself and for others, because we feel just so much more balanced and in tune when we do that, because we release, we let go, we allow ourselves to go beyond limitation, any limiting beliefs and thoughts and their associated energies. And then we become more aligned, more attuned, more radiant with that loving self. So be the compassion that you are, be the love that you are. And I can feel the loving, compassionate energies now of Jurama coming through. I'm always really curious and love hearing what they have to say. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy and say welcome to Jurama.
Hello, my friends. It is important for what has just been said, that in connecting to the energy of something brings about a great improvement to yourselves and therefore to the lives that you are living in this physical world. We are always saying about the importance of meditation, because through meditation you are allowing yourselves to go into a state of greater stillness. Now, that does not mean that you need to sit in meditation all day long, but just taking several moments to allow yourself to recenter again. And it's during those moments of recentering that, rather than connecting to the words of what is being said, you can allow yourself to connect to the essence and the energy of it. And it is through achieving that you bring about a greater awakening of your own inner self. You start to, or your soul, your spirit starts to interact in your physical life in a much more powerful way. Your thoughts become more directed. And that is where this being more intentional comes more strongly into play. Because as you become more focused and more intentional, you become much more aware of where you are in any given moment. Everything is about self-assessment. So rather than looking and thinking that it is everything external to you that is causing the issues, think of it more as it is your response to what is taking place that is causing any issues within you. Your response is causing your energy. So the more that you can come from an energy of stillness, an energy of greater connectedness, then you will be embodying the energies of greater and more expanded consciousness. And this will lead on to having and showing and being more compassionate. And that is a really strong energy to hold in your physical life. Because as you show and you embody that greater compassion, you start to see things in a very different way. You're allowing yourself to go beyond maybe how you used to respond and be within certain situations and experiences. And you start to achieve a greater self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And that, as we have said many times before, is your key purpose to being here. For as you allow that stronger embodiment of your true energy, which is one of a divine love, to come into your physical existence, the rest of your life will flow more freely. Your pathway will become more clearer. And as you journey down that pathway with all of its twists and turns and its ups and downs, its ebbs and flow, you will do so from that greater essence of balance, that greater state of balance, that greater being of balance. And as you allow yourself to carry that forward with you, you begin to experience more joys in life. Because as you radiate, so you create. It is a little bit like a flashlight. You are being more observant and more aware of what that beam of light is shining on. And this is where your intentional focus comes into play. By allowing yourselves coming from that energy of greater connectedness into that intentional focus, that is where your life will proceed towards. And those are the experiences that you will more readily draw into your life. So allow yourself the time to be still. Allow yourself the freedom to let go of maybe what once was, or maybe what still is, that still is causing you upset. Those things that are throwing you out of balance. And allowing yourself to become the new you, allowing yourself to become the greater you, the you that is more positive, more loving, more deeply connected to everything that exists, and more deeply knowing not just who you are, but where you will be going, where you will be heading towards. And as that energy unfolds within yourself and around you, you will be treading the pathway of your true heart's desires, or should we rather say, your true soul's desire. For you are all guided by your inner self, by your soul, and the wisdom that your soul embodies. All you need to do is to allow yourself to be still, to connect, and allow it to be so. And if this moves you into new circles, then so be it. Allow yourself to move with the flow and energy of a new life that will be more fulfilling, more enjoyable, and more loving, because you will be filled with that greater compassion. And with that, my friends, we will say goodbye for now. But remember, whatever you choose to do, it is your choice and your choice alone. So ask yourselves, what do you now choose to do? And therefore, choose to be. Goodbye, my friends.
Really feel that they're actually their love and their compassion, and they're kind of wanting us to feel that and to embrace that part of ourselves. You know, in essence, we are all one. So remember that connectedness as you awaken further to that compassion within you, as you awaken to that inner power of your true self. And I've been using a lovely mantra lately, and I'm just going to hope I could remember what it is, but it is, I am continually awakening to the divine consciousness of love, compassion, and unity. So you might like to use that yourself. I am continually awakening to the divine consciousness of love, compassion, and unity. And it has had such a powerful effect on me. It really helps me feel where I do want to put my attention, where it is important for me to put my focus and attention. And it's just very calming. So one thing that I'm just going to share with you, while Jarama was talking, I just had this lovely thing, this intuition come to me to say that abundance resides in compassion. So the more compassionate we are, the more abundant we feel, and the more abundance we can draw into our lives, because we're in alignment with our true self. And I'm just going to leave you with a lovely quote from Rumi. It's a really nice quote, and it embodies this energy and these words of compassion. And it is, when we practice loving kindness and compassion, we are the first ones to benefit. And that's so true, isn't it? Because when we give to others, we just feel that within ourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I'm sure Paul would want to say anything else.
Well, I just felt when Jarama was coming through that I really got this sense of let's do things differently with a greater sense of love, because that will make things so much better for us all. And it will really change and elevate the energy of all of humanity.
Yeah, great. So remember, please leave your comments, what you thought to this subject of compassion, any acts of compassion you've enjoyed, and share this podcast. And if there are any questions you'd like to put to Joanne with these ever-changing energies, please do. As I say, you can leave them in the comments or you can email us. We're both available for healing, and Paul also gives soul-to-soul readings as well as my mediumship and intuitive readings. We're very busy at the moment, but you know, if you think that's going to be helpful, you know where you are. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so much for joining us. We always love being with you. Yeah, remember to not get dragged into the frenzy of the media and all that pageantry and all that trying to separate you. Stay centered, stay true to you, and be who you are. Know that you are so, so loved. And I did forget to mention that the energetics and planetary energetics update with the Federation of Light are recorded earlier, and that will be up on the same kind of time and day as this will on YouTube. So
for now,
take all our love. Remember, the Federation of Light, your guides, angels, masters, and the divine are always there, always listening and always ready to help and assist you. So with all my love
and all my love,
namaste. Love you.
Be at peace.